My name is Robert Crenian, and I studied at Bristol from 1993 to 96. I studied Econometrics, a PhD degree, and I'm currently a hedge fund manager. And that means that I invest funds, my own as well as clients' funds, into a variety of different hedge fund strategies. Calderwood is a fund that invests primarily in hedge funds. And that's really the idea that we started off with. We are both in a very fortunate position in that we wanted to manage our own assets and that we shared the same investment philosophy as to how we wanted to do precisely that. I managed to get a job in financial markets on the back of having studied Econometrics. When I first went into the city in 1997, there were a lot of jobs in an area called risk management. And a lot of risk management is essentially about statistically looking at financial markets and measuring how investments differ in their degree of risk. And so a background in statistics is something extremely useful. Econometrics is basically using statistical methods and techniques and applying them to economic phenomena and economic theory. Sometimes we're told almost that there's a magic bullet. All we need to do is lower taxes and people go out and spend more money. Unfortunately, as we know, often human behavior is far more complex. Econometrics is very useful in that sense because it really looks at the data and it tries to model these relationships. And it tries to really put some scientific rigor into why humans behave in certain kind of ways. A hedge fund is pretty much the same as an investment fund in any shape or form. So it pools money together from investors, and that money then gets invested into capital markets. So the largest capital markets in the world are typically either equity markets or bond markets. However, when you invest in a typical, say, an ISA or a pension scheme, there are a lot of limitations as to what that fund can do. For example, a lot of equity funds can only buy stocks. The technical term for that is they can only go long. Hedge funds, on the other hand, are much more flexible in what they can do. Right now, what's going on is you'll find that there are a large number of very big institutions. So by that I mean things such as banks, wealth managers, pension funds, who are starting to look at cryptocurrencies as an asset class. In other words, something that they can invest in. Studying economics does equip you with some very good analytical tools and a very analytical frame of mind on how to think about solving certain kind of problems. It definitely gave me a love of learning, and that to me is a very, very important thing. I think generally, as humans, we benefit immensely just from learning. I think it's something that continues all throughout your life.